Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take your sources, we dig in, and we pull out the key insights so you're up to speed fast.
Yep, no information overload here. And today, we're looking at excerpts from a fictional piece, facing reality on the next big thing.
Right. So think of this as your focus guide. Our listener, the learner, wants the core ideas from this story. It's about teens pitching these potentially world-changing concepts on a reality show.
And we're zoning in on one contestant, Jamie. She's in the live finals, the stakes are high, and her pitch is ambitious.
Definitely ambitious. So picture this. Backstage, the next big thing, live finals, the lights, the buzz, immense pressure. And Jamie, this teenager, is about to go on.
You can almost feel the nerves, right?
Totally. And what's interesting right off the bat is how this fictional show uses young people to, engage with really big global problems.
Yeah, and Jamie's chosen issue is, well, it's a tough one, overpopulation. And she connects it to, scarce resources, the wealth gap, all these consequences.
Okay, so let's get into her pitch. The problem, overpopulation, a huge, complex challenge.
Huge. And her solution, it's a voluntary family planning app.
Key word there being voluntary.
Yeah.
This isn't about forcing anyone, right? It's framed as empowerment.
Exactly. Giving people information, tools, so they can make their own choices.
So what are the app's features? You mentioned data.
Yeah, it's described as data-driven. So probably using population stats, trends, that kind of thing to give localized forecasts.
Okay.
And it also offers resources for, safe and voluntary family planning methods. Plus, and this seems important, it connects users to support networks.
Oh, so it acknowledges the social side of things. It's not just tech.
Right. It's not happening in a vacuum. And Jamie's whole angle is societal responsibility. We can't just sit back and wait for some miracle fix.
They're calling for action, basically, informed choices.
But then one of the judges, a pop star, asks a pretty practical question.
Which is?
How do you actually convince people to use an app like this? It's a fair point.
Yeah, definitely. And what's Jamie's answer?
Well, it's interesting. She uses this analogy, refraction.
Refraction. Like light.
Yeah, like how light bends when it hits water, makes a rainbow. Her point is you offer a new perspective, new information, and that can kind of shift people's choices indirectly.
Ah, so it's not about pushing, it's about changing how they see it.
Exactly. A shift in understanding.
Okay, but not all the judges are immediately sold. There's a billionaire judge who's skeptical.
Right. Brings up the whole population control debate, which definitely reflects real-world arguments you hear.
So how does Jamie handle that skepticism?
She doesn't back down. She argues that not acting, that ignoring overpopulation, carries its own huge risks. She uses this really strong phrase, making a deal with the devil.
Wow. Okay, so she's painting inaction as the dangerous path.
Pretty much. Emphasizing the potential fallout.
Then another judge, the motivational speaker, asks about her personal drive. Like, why this issue for someone so young?
And her answer, it adds this emotional layer. She talks about wanting her generation to have a shot at actual happiness, not just scraping by, not just survival. And she specifically mentions her younger sister, makes it very personal.
And you can see how that would connect. The script says the audience gave her standing ovation.
Yeah, suggests her passion, her message. It really landed. People got it.
Okay, so pitch done, ovation. Then what? We shift backstage.
Yeah, quick scene backstage with her roommate, Maya. And Maya gives her this little pep talk mentioning procrastination.
Right, like having the idea is one thing, but you got to follow through.
Exactly. Action, perseverance, all that. It's not just about the light bulb moment.
And we see Jamie still feeling the pressure, right? Worried she'd forget everything.
Yeah, totally relatable fear. And Maya reassures her, saying just facing that pressure, getting up there, that's already a kind of win.
That's a good point. Just showing up under that spotlight.
And the story briefly mentions some other contestants' ideas, too. Eco-fashion, mental health support, VR schools.
All worthwhile things, for sure.
Definitely. But the narrative sort of implies Jamie's pitch. Because it tackled such a fundamental, maybe more controversial issue, it resonated differently. More deeply, perhaps.
Okay, leading up to the big moment. The winner announcement.
And it's the billionaire judge, the skeptic, who announces it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And he names Jamie as the winner. He specifically mentions her compassion and courage in tackling such a difficult topic.
So her approach, not just the idea itself, was key.
Seems like it. And Jamie's reaction is, surprise. But her acceptance speech is pretty sharp.
What did she say?
She talks about visualizing the future you want and then, crucially, fighting for it. And she adds that even small changes add up, They matter.
That's a great takeaway, actually, that success isn't just the big win.
Right. It's also about that self-belief, putting yourself out there, the process.
And there's a later conversation with Maya about happiness.
Yeah, a bit more philosophical. Maya suggests happiness might involve having faith in something bigger than just yourself. Adds another layer to why you'd strive for change.
Gives it a bit more depth beyond just solving a problem.
And then Jamie lightens the mood, makes a joke about the real prize being the friends made along the way.
The classic reality show line.
Totally, a little nod to the format.
So, as things wrap up in the story, what are Jamie's final thoughts?
She reflects on the future, acknowledges it's uncertain, lots of challenges ahead, but there's still this thread of optimism. Even in this kind of manufactured reality TV setting, she finds moments of real connection, real hope.
And she leaves us with that idea of creating your own little miracle.
Yeah, that individual courage and effort can actually make something happen.
Okay, so let's distill this down. As we finish this deep dive into Jamie's story, what are the core takeaways for you, the listener?
Well, first, I think it's about identifying problems that genuinely matter to you, big or small.
Right. Then developing solutions that are, thought through, considered.
Exactly. And then maybe the hardest part, having the courage to actually present those ideas, especially when you know there might be pushback or doubt, facing the pressure, like Maya said.
And that refraction analogy Jamie used is really sticking with me.
Yeah, it's a great way to think about influence, isn't it? Sometimes just offering a new lens, a different perspective can be incredibly powerful, maybe more so than arguing head-on sometimes.
It suggests change doesn't always have to be this huge top-down thing. Small shifts in understanding can ripple outwards.
Definitely. And ultimately, it boils down to taking some responsibility for the future, right? Being proactive, using knowledge, using innovative thinking. Not just, well, waiting around for a miracle.
So here's a final thought for you, our listener, to maybe chew on. Think about a challenge you see. Could be global, could be right in your neighborhood.
Yeah. And ask yourself, what app, and we're speaking metaphorically here, what tool, what new idea, what shift in perspective could you imagine offering?
How could you empower others with information, or just a different way of looking at it? What small miracle, to use Jamie's word, might you be able to kickstart with a bit of courage and effort?